Hey Bat fans, Luke here, ready to do this week's Bat Chat session with everybody as we go ahead and take a look at this week's Bat books, which there were only four that I picked up, Batman or Batman related, one being really loosely related. But all in all, it was a good week. Other than maybe one of the titles, all above average, and had a blast. One title continues to impress. One title I was really excited for. One title continues to kick butt, and then one title is just there, to kind of put it loosely. So, but we're gonna go ahead and start with the one I was really excited for, and one a lot of people were kind of excited for, and that is the return of Scott Snyder to The Dark Knight, and that is All-Star Batman. Issue number 1, I got the normal cover, done by Romita Jr. Also got the variant cover by Romita Jr. And the other variant I was really looking forward to getting, that is the Jacques variant. And bottom line, if it has Jock in it, I'm probably just gonna get it. I almost picked up the Superman American Alien title just because Jock did the last issue. So really excited to get those variants. But the story, how did it kind of live up to the hype, if it did at all? I thought this was a good story. And not only is it good because of what are the stories that's actually inside the pages, but I think this has a lot of potential, and you're going to see a lot of good Easter eggs along the way. Basically, the plot of the story is that Batman's going to travel, I believe it's just only across the state. I don't think it's across the country. It's referenced, I think he needs to get to the other state. But I can't remember for sure. But he's got to take Two-Face to this house, which will basically, it's kind of like a psychological healing type thing. But basically, Harvey Dent is asking Bruce, or Batman, to take him to this house before Two-Face comes back. So they're really playing the split personality version of or direction of Two-Face, and I like how they continue the kind of tie-in, or the not really the tie-in, but the relationship between Batman and Harvey Dent, not Two-Face much, but Harvey Dent, where if there's a chance Batman's going to get Harvey back, he's going to take that chance. He has like a little soft spot for Harvey. And I like how that kind of continued on here. But basically, what's going to kind of throw that into a loop is that as Harvey's time as district attorney, he's kind of dug up a lot of dirt on a lot of people. And obviously, Two-Face doesn't want to go to where Batman's taking him, because there's a chance that the Two-Face Harvey can be removed and only the Harvey remains. So basically, it's like, hey, if I get taken to where Batman's going to take me, I'm basically going to release all the dirt I got on everybody, and all your secrets that you have are going to be revealed. And if there's someone who can kind of prevent that from happening, I will sit there and take all the money from the three crime lords of Gotham, Cobblepot, Falcone, and Maroni, and their fortune is yours. So incentive, prevent me from getting to where Batman's trying to take me, and that's yours. If I get where we're going, I'm spilling the beans, type of thing. And so now you take that concept, and then you take into what Scott Snyder wants to do is really, delve into the villains of the Batman rogue gallery. You see potential now, because now all these villains and stuff that you haven't seen for a while. I mean, in this issue you get Firefly, Killer Moth, and Black Spider. just alone, and at the very end, the cliffhanger, you see one as well. These are folks you haven't seen in a while, and it gives them a chance, to get some spotlight. So I see a concept that could be really fun, and of course, just the relationship between Batman and Harvey slash Two Face, in itself fun. So I see a concept which could really be really good. And the overall story I thought was okay. As far as the execution goes, I did have some kind of things that kind of shook my head a little bit. I was like, and we'll go ahead and address them. There's two primarily. Number one, Duke Thomas. I'm sorry, I keep saying it. I just do. I don't like Duke Thomas. And the fact that not as the character kind of concept, I don't mind, but it's just I just feel that he hasn't been earned. I said this numerous times. It's like they're throwing it in our face, and he hasn't earned it. And then when I read it, it's just like when I read stuff that has Duke Thomas in it, it's just like he's just there. It's just like someone walking in the room. I'm talking to my best friend, or whatever, and then we look at the wall and go, "Huh, there's a spider on the wall," and then we go back to our conversation. That's literally what I feel like when I'm reading something that Duke Thomas is in it. It's just like I'm really entrenched in what's going on. I'm kind of focused somewhere. And then off my periphery, there's Duke Thomas, and it's just there. It's forced, and it's not earned. I don't know. Unless they do something. And in this issue, it's pretty much that. His conversation between Batman and Jim Gordon. Duke was just there. Even the backup story we had there, Duke was just there, to put it mildly. So, strike one, Duke Thomas continue to be forced down my throat, which, blah. Secondly, is John Romita Jr.'s art. Man, I suffered through his Batman or Superman run earlier, and it's just I don't know. I mean, it has some parts where it's good, but the thing with Romita Jr. is just really just drives me bonkers. Is it's like a lot of his character designs, they just look so rigid and tense, and I don't want to say skinny, but they sort of are. They're kind of like boxed in, and it's just like it's kind of like this. It looks like someone just sit there and got a character design, and it's literally like a perfect square, and they have like a round head. It just everything just feels so boxed in. Like I can't remember the character in Saturday Night Live, the one Superstar, the one Molly Shannon played, and she was in an episode of Seinfeld with her and Raquel Welch. I kind of got into it because they used to walk and their hands didn't move, their arms didn't move. It's just like real rigid and stiff. If I had to compare or what my thoughts for John Romita Jr.'s art, it's kind of like that. I mean, it's just like overall, the design and concept look. I mean, look, that's really good. He has some parts where it's like, yeah, I dig it. But then you'll see stuff where everything's just so stiff, rigid, and like even that. Oh, that's kind of like a bad example because that is pretty cool. Him coming through the tall grass, and oh yeah, I'm not all too much of a fan. But yeah, it just sees some parts where not Batman, it's just his overall character design just looks so rigid and stiff. It gets kind of distracting, to put it mildly. So there's that. There's the other villain that pops up the very end, Gentleman Ghost. Last time I seen him was in the Gotham by Midnight annual, which was pretty good. So, but then there's another one. Flip back to that conversation between Batman, Jim Gordon, and Duke. That's Jim Gordon with a full head of brown hair. Trying to remember. Did Jim Gordon? No, he might have. Yeah, I don't think it's silver or red. I thought it was more red than brown. Either way, yeah, this is the art. It had some parts where it's like, yeah, I dig it. It's good, but then it had some John Romita Jr. isms, which I don't know. So it sounds like I'm kind of being down on this, and I'm not, because it was a fun read. I'm just so happy to get Scott Snyder back on Batman. And then we're going to be getting some guest artists in here as well. So, the backup story, it has me intrigued. It's kind of dark. I will say that. Definitely has some Snyder isms in there as far as, the dark horror type theme stuff he kind of does. So, this was fun. It really was. But it has its isms that just kind of frustrated me a little bit. I'm still excited. I will give this a. I'm gonna go ahead and say a 3, mainly because the two jarring issues I had, Romita Jr. and Duke Thomas just being there, was just so there. If it maybe if he wasn't Duke there, I could deal with Duke maybe in the backup story. Had a little bit more prominence other than the very beginning of the story, where he just felt literally like the fly on the wall. Like, hey, look, there's a fly on the wall. Excuse me. If it wasn't that, this would definitely be. Sorry again. Like a 3.5. But just. I'm going to give it a 3. It was a 3, but I still had a lot of fun. Alright. Since I kind of started somewhat on the moody mood, let's go ahead and talk Earth 2 Society. Not going to go too far in depth into this, mainly because it's just Earth 2 has just been, I don't know. Don't want to say it's bad, 'cause it's not terrible, but definitely like walking the razor's edge of mediocrity. I kind of put it bluntly. And what happens in this issue is basically the Humanite is trying to get, I can't remember Wonder Woman's Earth 2 name. I can't remember. Either way, she has like the Pandora's box that basically can recreate humanity. And obviously, the heroes are considering using it to rebuild or remake Earth 2, while the Humanite, once he gets his hands on it, for obviously not good things. And one of the soldiers from the Humanites is actually Dick Drake. Dick Drake, Jesus Christ. Dick Grayson's son John, which he thought was dead, as Earth 2 was destroyed from the attack of Darkseid. But he's under the mind control of Humanite. But basically, John kind of realized that, hey, that's my daddy. Literally, that's my daddy. So he kind of stops what he's doing. But so this kind of disobedient behavior, not being frowned upon or not being liked too much by the Humanite, but he leaves. But however, the Humanite finds a way to basically still try to get what he's getting after, despite John Grayson's disobedience. And basically what he does is he got this technology which can be amplified throughout the city for mind control, and he kind of targets Hal Jordan. As you remember, he gave up his ring, so basically he can provide power to the Earth 2 to prevent like a massive war on the planet that could basically destroy itself. So he sacrifices powers in order for the planet to have the resources it needs to rebuild. But there's kind of all this in the back of his head, like, yeah, I kind of maybe want to have my connection with the ring. And basically, what the Humanite does is uses his mind control to put onto Hal Jordan to get his ring back, and now have the Green Lantern on his side as he battles the metas to try to get Pandora's. It's not box, is it Pandora's crate or something like that. And that's basically how the issue ends. Is now Hal Jordan has gone to the dark side, and now the next issue, The Last Night of the World. Overall, in concept, I dig it. I just felt like in execution, in a couple places, it just continues my gripes with Earth 2. First, I thought the writing was kind of choppy in this. And there were some things where it's like, you can really just tell they were trying to sell certain things in this issue. And rather than do it through like really great executed writing, it's like someone just put like a billboard right in front of you and was like, just put on this like flashing message over and over again. Hey, the Humanite, the Ultra Humanite, he's a bad guy. Take him seriously. He can ruin everything. Ultra Humanite, he's a bad guy. He can take over anything. Ultra Humanite, he's the bad guy. I just literally just like that was like getting beaten to my head. I was like, okay, I got it. You're trying to put some credibility into him as a villain and what he could potentially do to the metas and destroy Earth 2. And I got that, but it was just really just like pounding that a couple times throughout the issue. The second thing that really bothered me, and I think an Earth 2 annual, I'm not having an issue with that. I'm sure, well, I was going to say I'm sure I have a good time reading it, but I don't know, after Earth 2, it's kind of just like, So, basically, when John leaves, Dick throws a tracer on him so he could be traced, and he lets Huntress know that, that's my son, go after him, and she does. And in order to us for follow the chase between the two, read Earth 2 Society Annual number 1. I'm like, oh my lord. It's just like, okay, got it. One of the probably most intriguing parts of the story, the revelation that John Grayson is still alive. He had an interaction with his father, Dick Grayson, who thought his son was dead. And in order for us to find out what's going on, you have to read an annual rather than being like the focus point of the story. I'm just like, okay, whatever. And other thing that's really bugged me is the art in some of these issues. The eyes are like really big and just really goofy looking. It's cartoony to say the least in a lot of these panels. Overall, average 2.5, because it did have some good moments. And again, I like the concept now that Green Lantern is now quasi bad. I just thought it was executed kind of choppy, and I think they're missing probably one of the most interesting parts of the story. That's the revelation that John is alive, and Dick Grayson knowing, and now, kind of like we saw in Batman and Robin, what the father would do to go get his son back. We could have that same type of storytelling again, and I don't have too much confidence in it. So, 2.5 out of 5, Earth 2 Society issue number 15. Now we're going to go ahead into the creme de la creme of this week's Bat Books, and we're going to take a look quickly at Detective Comics issue 938. Got the main cover here, and of course, I got the variant, this one done by Raphael Albuquerque. Love Raphael's art. It's just absolutely great, and I love the yellow cover on this. Well, it really pops off everything. And to not go too far in depth, because I'm going to try to get this done in less than 10 more minutes, which can happen. This issue was good, but in reality, not a whole lot happened. And you don't need to have a whole bunch of things happen in an issue to really make it a good one. Because it's really been, the pace has been really kind of quick in this issue, in this series so far since it relaunched. That's maybe a bad word. Since the beginning of the Rebirth Initiative. It really has been really fast paced. This issue, I felt the pace kind of slowed down a little bit, but in a good way. You kind of get a little bit more flushing out of the relationship between Kate and her father, which I thought was good, especially for new readers who just jumping on board. I mean, Detective Comics, if you are just a new reader, this is probably one of the more new reader friendly titles that are pretty much out right now. Because you get a lot of good character development, a lot of things get flushed out, and in a way where it doesn't really insult the long-time readers either. So it's a good balance. New reader and us veterans out there, us Bat veterans. It's a good balance. I love the interaction between Kate and Batman as she saves him. As you know, Batman's kind of like, "Oh, someone's really saving me." I don't know, and it's just Kate's just like, "Shut up, just really." We're here to help you. We help you. Let your ego down. We got it. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Which I thought was good. In addition to that, you do see a confrontation between Tim and the General in this, and obviously those who read Pre-New 52, you know that's a rivalry that's being kind of headed back toward. So I thought that was good. I love how Orphan was portrayed in this. It was just awesomely done, and just the way it was kind of done, where she comes out of the elevator, she's faced with a whole bunch of these, Batmen, and they're like, "They sent you," and there's like, "Yeah," and and then let me just skip to, and it's as the rest of the team goes up to the next floor where she's at, and she's like, "Yeah, I handle my business." It's just awesomely done. In addition to that, I thought Tim utilized his technical prowess pretty well in this issue, and overall, it was a fun issue. I will say that how we're gonna go from here on in with the drones that could really just start shooting people that they believe is members of the League of Shadows. Might touch a nerve with some folks these days, because I know things with drones is not all well embraced here, but neither here nor there. It was just a fun issue. I think they gave Spoiler a little bit too much of a leash as far as her tactical prowess, but I'll let that go. Because the thing that she doesn't hear with the detonation of the bombs, I think that's more Tim's thing. And a bit of a calculated risk by someone who really doesn't have the experience. I'll just kind of leave it at that. Clayface was fun. I just wish they would kind of just really flush him out a little more. Because really, thus far, the only thing they're really using him for, the only thing you see him for, is when they got extract out from the tower, when they get kind of put into the Clayface ball, and they leave that one attack, and then here they use him to go from one floor to another. I hope they have more in store for what Clayface can bring to the story other than that. Just extraction and transport so far. I'm hoping they do more than that. But all in all, I feel invested. You feel stakes. You get some good character development. And it's a fun story. The art is phenomenal. I believe this is Martinez. Yeah, Martinez still doing the art here. So from start to finish so far, not really finished, but from start to present day, the art in Detective Comics has been great, and it has not let up thus far. This I will give a 3.5 out of 5. yeah, Detective Comics has been fun, and it's like bordering on a 4. Like every issue thus far is, I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, almost all of them, and it's one that it almost could be a 4. It's like flirting on a 4, and Tynan, the 4, number 4, he's just killing it. Great choice for writing this issue, this series, and been really helped out with a great art team. So yeah, Detective Comics issue number 938, 3.5 out of 5. Man, if you're not reading Detective, I think you're missing out on one of the better books that are out there, at least for Batman. Anyway, Red Hood and the Outlaws issue number 1. My boy JT, loving it, loving it. But there's this kind of feeling that I'm like looking over my shoulder that's sitting there saying, when's Lobdell gonna drop the bomb on me? Because I love Red Hood the character. I love Jason Todd. I love the overall premise of each of his books that I've seen. This is the third title anyway. But it's just the Lobdell-isms kind of kill it after a while. And I'm reading this. This is 2 issues now, where I'm just like, is this the same Lobdell? And then again, it's just like, okay, I've been burned so many times before. I'm just kind of like waiting for it. I'm like, all right, when's the boy banter gonna show up? When's the really off-character interpretation, execution gonna happen? That's the only thing that's driving me crazy about this, is that because it's 2 issues, including the rebirth, and they've been great, but it's kind of like I'm waiting for it. It's like, it's like I'm putting my hand on a hot stove, and I'm not really touching it yet, but it's like, I hate to say that's the reason what's bad with it, because I just had such bad experience with Lobdell before. That's kind of, maybe it's because, well, I'm liking it more than I actually am, but at the same time, maybe I'm having somewhat of a damper experience reading it, because I'm like, this is so good, but I know it's coming at some point. I don't know. I'm rambling on about it, but basically what happens in this issue, which the art is just great. I love the art in Red Hood so far. In both issues, the art has been great. And we do see a little bit of a backstory with Mama and the Ma's Gun School for Wayward Boys, which was supposed to be an orphanage, but she took the kids and trying to brainwash them to be criminals type of thing, and it's all good. And then turns out, go to present day, someone tried to kill her, and we find out the reason why someone tried to kill her, it was actually the Black Mask, because the Black Mask tried to get her on her side, and she basically said no, and this is the price you pay when you say no to Black Mask. So we all know Red Hood is going undercover Grayson style to infiltrate the Black Mask game, which the mask, kind of like the old mask, but it's basically a continued infiltration of Jason Todd into the Black Mask gang, who's kind of anointing him as like his lieutenant. He wants a good heir apparent, and basically Jason Todd, or Red Hood, is the man. But you do see some really cool twists in this. You see how ruthless Black Mask is, and the fact that he sees Gotham, he's like, yeah, this is mine, It has its great parts to it, but, it has some bad parts to it. Thinking on the crime boss side, and he has some gang members there that let him down, and what's the price of failure, and we're just gonna blow you up. Which Red Hood's kind of even saying there, he's like, man, that's cold, even for me that is cold, what he just did right there. But so Black Mask kind of wants him to be his lieutenant, his heir apparent, but he's got to prove himself, so he goes to rob this train, but inside what he finds is 1/3 of the Trinity of the Red Hood and the Outlaws story, and it's Artemis. Now, we don't know if Black Mask was trying to capture Artemis and bring him to it, or there was something inside that Artemis was also tracking. I don't know, but you see the reveal of Artemis in here. I'm not going to go too far in depth in this, other than to say Awesome story. Lobdell doing good, but again, I'm worried only because I just hope that the bad Lobdell doesn't come back. Artness great. The dialogue is awesome. And I love we're kind of getting like a dark twist to the Grayson title. Dick infiltrates the Spiral organization for the better Batman. Don't get twisted. That's what it was. And here you're seeing the darker side. You see not only the darker twist on the Trinity of DC, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman with Red Hood, Bizarro, and Artemis. But we didn't see Bizarro yet. But we're also seeing another dark take on Grayson. With Grayson's darker side would be Jason Todd, and we're seeing a play on that. Again, great character execution. Red Hood, awesome, great inner dialogue, great interactions. Black Mask is effed up. While I don't like his current mask design, overall the character is great, and just a great story. Which again, potential. I dig it. I like it. Having a blast. 3.5 out of 5. Also, kind of maybe throwing this as a 4. Some people complain about the slow burn, about all the Trinity, bringing Super Bizarro and Artemis into the fold. It's like a slow burn. First off, it's 2 issues. Come on, give me a break. 2, I would just love if I just saw a book that said that. Red Hood. I mean, I'm okay with Red Hood and the Outlaws, but I would just really like just to see Red Hood. Stories about Red Hood. Strictly Red Hood. So maybe this is another reason why I'm loving this so much. You're just getting so much good Jason Todd-centric storytelling here. And I'm okay with a quote-unquote slow burn getting these 3. There's no need to rush it if you're getting such good quality story writing as you see right here. So that's it. 3.5 out of 5 for Red Hood and the Outlaws issue number 1. Definitely highly recommend this title. But again, I'm just looking over my shoulder. Every couple steps, looking, seeing when Lobdell is going to do his thing. Which I hopefully not. Maybe that was just all creative direction, editorial. Hey, do the boy banter. Let's destroy other character images, whatever. Maybe he can do some good. I don't know. We'll see. 3.5 out of 5. Anyway, those were this week's Bat Books. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. And we'll bat chat about that. So anyway, until next week, we'll take a look at the next Bat Books. Take care, everybody.